The funeral services of 5 men murdered during the police station attack takes place this weekend. Yesterday, Warrant Officer Zukombini was laid to rest at his home in Zimbani outside Mthatha. Eastern Cape Police Commissioner assured mourners that the Mancoba 7 Angels Church outside Ngobo will be closed down.
In South Africa's complex history of religious movements, cultural traditions, and rapidly shifting social landscapes, only a few stories have drawn as much national attention and concern as the rise and fall of the Mancoba family of the Eastern Cape. Known publicly as the leaders of the 7 Angels Ministries, the 7 brothers at the center of this narrative became emblematic of the dangers that emerge when charismatic leadership, isolation, and unchallenged authority and extreme beliefs collide. This story is not simply about a crime, nor is it merely a tale of a rural family who turned inward and cut themselves off from the outside world, but rather it is a story about vulnerability, influence, coercion, and the powerful psychological mechanisms that can lead to ordinary individuals turning to devastating actions. Welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we explore one of the most disturbing and complex crime stories in South Africa's recent history: the rise and fall of the Mancoba brothers, leaders of the group known as the 7 Angels Ministries. Their journey from a secluded religious movement in the Eastern Cape to the center of a national tragedy, which has left lasting questions about cults and their social implications. We will be exploring the origins of the Mancoba brothers, the environments that shaped them, the formation of the 7 Angels Ministries, the international dynamics of the group, as well as the tragic crimes that were committed as a result of this group. To understand the trajectory that led the events of 2018, it is important to begin with the roots of the Mancoba family. 7 Angels Ministries did not just appear suddenly. It evolved from the spiritual convictions of the family patriarch, Siphiwo Mancoba, who was respected in his local community as a church leader with strong theological views. His teachings blended elements of Christian doctrines with spiritual interpretations unique to the region, influenced by local traditions and broader history of centric religious movements in South Africa. Siphiwo died in 2015. The leadership was passed down to his sons, the individuals who would later be known nationally as the 7 Angels. The brothers were reported to have been raised in an environment steeped in strict religious ideology, isolated from the mainstream schooling and many social interactions that typically shape childhood development. As kids, these 7 brothers were strictly indoctrinated to believing that they were divine. They grew up under a strong indoctrination that they were divinely chosen vessels, set apart from the ordinary human society. The brothers grew up on the fringes of Ngobo village, a rural region where poverty, unemployment, and limited access to services had left many people searching for meaning, support, or spiritual clarity. In such a context, the message of divine calling and spiritual purity that the brothers preached found fertile ground amongst the followers who were looking for the guidance or belonging. By the time the brothers assumed full leadership of the movement, the 7 Angels Ministries had already developed a reputation for operating outside of conventional religious norms. Their teachings emphasized obedience, separation from worldly influences, and absolute loyalty to the spiritual hierarchy. Over time, these principles became the foundation of a closed ecosystem that functioned independently from the community around it. The church, located near the quiet town of Nyanga, began as a small place of worship but eventually transformed into a secluded compound. Members lived on these premises, adhering to a structure of hierarchy in which the 7 brothers held absolute authority.
Njengoba silapha soba i7 sisi angels sisuka emazulwini.
Although churches are common in rural South Africa, this ministry stood out for several reasons. 1. It discouraged members from sending their children to school. 2. It promoted a lifestyle disconnected from the mainstream society. And 3. It demanded full religious devotion to the brothers who were claiming a divinely ordained status. Former members reported that the brothers had cultivated an environment where questioning leadership was deemed as an expression of lack of faith and disobedience. On the other hand, a blind obedience to this leadership was regarded as an expression of faith. As the church grew, so did its insularity. Followers relinquished important aspects of independence as the compound became their entire world. Outsiders were often viewed as threats, and the compound's isolation, both physically and ideologically, created conditions in which the group developed a stronger internal cohesion but also a greater detachment from the outside world. What made Seven Angels Ministries distinct was the intensity of its internal structure and the eventual violent encounter that brought national attention to it. Life inside this compound was very strange. Accounts collected after the 2018 police raid provided significant insight into the life inside this compound. As alleged by the miners and survivors that were rescued, it is reported that this compound was a highly controlled environment where the authority of the brothers shaped nearly every aspect of their daily life. School attendance, being a core children's right in South Africa, was discouraged or prohibited. Children lived within the compound and reportedly received no formal education. Adults were expected to obey the spiritual hierarchy and participate in daily teachings, while expected to accept them without question. This belief underpinned everything in the compound. It shaped discipline, restricted freedom of movement, and cultivated the idea that outside structures such as government institutions and law enforcement were obstacles to spiritual purity. Financial contributions from the followers sustained the compound. And in all this, the brothers made sure to control the allocation of resources as per every individual's need. From a psychological and sociological perspective, this structure exhibits a strong parallels with the globally recognized patterns of cult organizations: rigid hierarchy, isolation, charismatic leadership, and ideological purity. These features, when combined, can create an environment where followers can become deeply loyal and dependent, unable to perceive or resist harmful dynamics. By early 2018, the Seven Angels Ministries compound had become increasingly isolated and resistant to outside interference. The ministry was already identified by local authorities as a point of concern, and the disconnect between the group and the state institutions was widening. In February of the year 2018, tensions escalated. On the night of the 21st of February 2018, the Mancoba police station became the target of a violent and coordinated attack. This incident shocked the nation and drew the nation's attention to a group that had until then remained largely unknown beyond its immediate region. What happened was this. In the early hours of the morning, armed attackers entered into the Mancoba police station, instigating an altercation between them and the police. As a result, they then opened fire, claiming the lives of 5 police officers, with weapons being claimed after these murders. A 6th victim, a retired soldier, was later killed and had his vehicle taken. The attack was brutal and swift, leaving a community reeling and a nation outraged. This was one of the deadliest attacks on police officers in post-apartheid South Africa. The scale of brazenness of the attack prompted immediate action from law enforcement agencies across the Eastern Cape. As investigators followed the trail of stolen weapons and vehicles, evidence linked individuals associated with the compound to the attack. This was after a CCTV footage surfaced where a group of men believed to be the 7 Mancoba brothers were caught on camera stealing an ATM machine, which they reportedly broke and helped themselves to money worth up to 500,000 rands. The connection between the perpetrators and the ministry became a turning point in the investigation. Witnesses' accounts and ballistic evidence linked individuals associated with the compound to the attack, leading authorities to prepare a full raid on the premises. This tragedy also intensified national conversations about the vulnerability of rural police stations, as well as the prevalence of illegal firearms and the emerging threat posed by isolated groups capable of coordinating violence actions. On the 23rd of February 2018, the police launched a coordinated operation on the Seven Angel Ministries premises. What they discovered inside the compound would expose the full extent of the group's isolation and internal structure. During this raid, a shootout occurred in which several Mancoba brothers were killed. Law enforcement rescued approximately 100 women and children who were found inside, many whom were living in reportedly restrictive conditions without access to formal schooling or freedom to leave. The discovery of minors inside of the compound validated long-standing concerns raised by social workers and local authorities. Their removal marked the beginning of their lengthy process of rehabilitation. This raid brought an end to the leadership of the Mancoba brothers and dismantled the organizational structure of the Seven Angel Ministries. It also forced national attention on the issues of cult-like religious movements, child protection, and law enforcement challenges in rural communities. While the exact motivations behind the Ngobo attack remain debated, it is clear that a combination of ideological hostility towards government structures, isolation from mainstream society, and the belief system cultivated inside the compound played a role. Concerns about the church had surfaced long before 2018. In 2016, the Eastern Cape Department of Social Development conducted an investigation following allegations of children being kept out of school. The department's findings confirmed that minors were living in the compound without attending formal education. This prompted further recommendations for intervention. However, local authorities encountered challenges enforcing compliance. The isolated nature of the compound, combined with the strong loyalty of the adults, made external oversight difficult. Even when agencies attempted to engage the group, they met resistance or limited cooperation. These early attempts to intervene reveal a key issue. Although authorities were aware of the situation, the measures available at the time were insufficient to penetrate the group's structure or address the deeper ideological issues influencing its members. As a result, concerns remain largely unresolved. Following the raid, several surviving members of the group were arrested and charged in connection with the Ngobo attack. The subsequent court proceedings revealed additional details about the inner workings of the ministry, its belief systems, and the roles played by different members. Testimonies from rescued individuals, statements from investigators, and forensic evidence helped construct a clearer picture of how the group operated and the extent of its internal control. The courts found that the group had functioned with a level of indoctrination and authority that placed members in vulnerable psychological positions. Convictions were handed down to individuals involved in planning and executing the attack, as well as those who aided the movement's activities. The court proceedings emphasized the seriousness of the crimes and the need to prevent similar formations in future. The story of the Mancoba brothers is a complex intersection of religious belief, social vulnerability, and isolated leadership. Seven Angels Ministries began as a family-led religious movement but gradually transformed into a closed environment governed by strict ideology and unchallenged authority. And the result? The Ngobo attack that came to shock the nation, where members of the police force became subject to brutal murders. Before I end this video, I want to ask the question that relates to intervention. In your honest opinion, what do you think could have been done to prevent this tragedy? Was it a failure of early intervention, or were the group's beliefs too deeply entrenched for outside influence to make a difference? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. And most importantly, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this.